a lot of time with people who you would consider progressive or woke. And it's weird being around them because it's not a normal human interaction. When somebody's that politically extreme, there's always a subtext or something going on. When you're in conversation with them, it's like they're talking with you, but they're also watching you, and they're listening very closely. They're listening to everything you say, and they're looking for any indication that you might not align with them politically, but they also watch each other. They also watch each other. They know they'll be friends with people who are also progressive. They police each other all the time. There's this death in the woke progressive movement, the death of assuming someone has a good intention. Like, that's gone. They're literalists. They're fundamentalists. They take what you say. If you crack a joke, they will take that joke literally. It's like their sense of irony's been turned off. Their sense of humor's been turned off. Everything is literal. Everything, like if you were to say to them, if, just as an example, get a hold of yourself, they would think, okay, why aren't you grabbing yourself? Why aren't you grabbing your shirt if you said get a hold of yourself? I don't get it. You said you're trying to get a hold of yourself. Why aren't you actually grabbing? Like, I'm just saying it's very literal with them. There's no, you don't have a good heart to them. There's no such thing. If you say something wrong, that it's like the whole universe has been revealed. If you misspeak, and they act as if they see exactly who you are. You're somebody who can't be trusted. You're somebody who's been possessed by a certain R word. I don't say the R word here for regarding skin color because TikTok will ban the video, but like, you're an R word supremacist. Insert some color, whatever color, right? Usually it's an alabaster color is what they refer to. It's like your mind's been possessed. It's like your mind's been hijacked in their imagination. So it's really weird. They're talking to you, and they're assuming that somewhere within you, maybe below your consciousness, there's something wrong with you. That, because if you're not progressive to them, you're actually on like the wrong side of history, the wrong side of morality. You're evil. And they look at you like maybe it's conscious, and if it's conscious, it's even worse. But if it's unconscious, they don't have sympathy. You'd think they'd have sympathy for somebody who, by their logic, is unconsciously possessed by something. But no, that's not what they think. They are not what they feel. They feel no compassion. It's like this anger and vitriol, and it's like, oh, I can convert somebody. I can transform somebody into a good person. I can make this person like me a good person, right? It's all narcissism and projection. And they're nice enough, but when you're talking to them, they're nice enough, but you feel under that there's this like sinister quality. They're watching you, they're weighing you, they're measuring you, they're investigating you. They don't care about your thoughts. The only thing they care about your thoughts is how much do they align with their progressive brainwashing. Now, I'm pointing out wokes and progressives here, but of course, any political extremists on the right or left are doing the same thing. Any religious extremist is doing the same thing. It just so happens in the universities, in a lot of corporations, right? You don't run across a lot of radical extremists unless they're on the left. You're not going to come along and find, some radical right-wing neo N-word, not the pejorative for black people, but the N-word from the guys from the 1930s and 40s in Germany. You're not going to come across that in most cities, right? But you will come across neo-Maoist, Jacobin light, woke progressives who are watching your every move. I always point this out, and I'll point it out in more videos, but there's this line in 1984 where Orwell says, you got to watch your back muscles, because your back muscles can give you away. You're not agreeing with how, they'll tell you're not agreeing with the party. And you kind of feel that. You don't laugh at the right joke, or you laugh at the wrong joke. You make the wrong facial expression. You don't speak up when you should. Or you don't have enough enthusiasm when you say something that they support. Or you don't have enough anger or animosity talking about something they dislike. So I'm around this all the time. And, one of the most disheartening things about the woke progressive movement is that it's like invincible ignorance. Like, you can't talk them out of it. And in my experience, I hope I'm wrong, it looks like the younger generation is more extreme than the current generation. Like, I'm around some younger 20-year-olds and mid-20s, and Maybe it's just where I'm at. That could definitely be it. But I've talked to friends in other parts of the country as well. But they say, yeah, I don't see woke going away. It's going to change forms. It's going to find new things to care about. It's going to express itself differently. But I just don't really see it going away. People say, keep saying it's dying out. I don't see that yet. But again, it could be a product of where I'm located, which is in a major urban area. But yeah, it's weird talking to woke people because it's like, you know what it feels like? If you've ever been in a relationship with a super jealous, suspicious partner, that tension that's always there, they're always second guessing you. If you've ever been with somebody who's like hyper jealous and like, you just slightly change something just because you're absent minded, like in a story and they like pick up on that and you're like, you're out of your mind. It's not what I'm thinking. It's not what I thought. It's not what I did. It's not even really what I meant. I was just, kind of absent-mindedly talking. You can't talk when absent-minded when you're around. I actually had somebody the other day, this person, get on me for saying broken home. That someone came from a broken home, which they did come from a broken home. Their parents, I don't know how else you can define coming from a home that has like an abusive parent who's on drugs. That's a broken home, right? But I was jumped on for using the phrase broken home. And you step back like, what do you do here? And in the context of the point I was making, didn't address, they don't address like the main point I was making. The progs don't address the main points. They pick up on language and nitpick you, right? Like language is an insight into your psyche. It's like, they're neo-Freudian too. It's this weird mix of like Freudian clairvoyant mind reading along with political left-wing extremism. It's really weird. It's almost medieval. It's almost superstitious. It's almost like black magic, right? Like they're looking at, they're like seeing what you really are beneath the surface. In some movies, people are possessed and they don't know it, and that's how they look at you. And I think sane people essentially are looking at them thinking, actually, you are the ones who are a little bit kooky, a little bit brainwashed, maybe a lot brainwashed. But I think that about the far left and the far right all the time. How do we know we're sane? Well, we're still promoting freedom of speech. We're still promoting the individual. We're still, as much as possible, keeping to the idea of colorblindness. We're still supporting the U.S. Constitution. I mean, that's how I know I'm still kind of in touch with reality. That's what I base it on. So how you say, how do you know you're not brainwashed and they are? It's, well, I feel like if you use your reason, use some spiritual common sense, you find this core values. And there's trade-offs, right? Like I can see the point of not being completely colorblind. There's obviously a trade-off there, right? There can be some R-word people who don't get, can kind of get away with it in a colorblind society. But it's better than, it's like capitalism, right? Like capitalism's better than everything else, even though it's not perfect. Colorblindness, I technically call it color backgroundness, like the colors in the background. You notice somebody's color, obviously, but it's like not that important. It's like latent unless you need to bring it to something and bring it up for a reason. Like, well, we won't get it. We'll just say that for another video. But the whole point is like, that's how we know we're sane, is because we have universal principles that we're resting upon. And when you see people move from universal principles, that's an indication they're the ones under the spell of a crazy ideology, and it's not you. This is Dylan. If you like talking politics and want to hear me ramble, give me a follow.